what if you can take the book you've written and repurpose the content to create multiple streams of income? This is just one of the things that I discuss with my amazing guest today. If this is something you're interested, then you are going to love today's episode as we talk about how to unmarket your book. Welcome, awesome authors. You are listening to the Answering the Call to Write podcast. I'm your host, Melissa Farndale, and this episode is brought to you by Paper Crown Media. Hello, awesome authors, and welcome to this episode of Answering the Call to Write. Are you in for a treat today? I have with me the amazing Carol J. Dunlop. Now, I'm going to give you her bio quickly, and then I'm going to tell you a little bit more about her from my perspective. So, Carol is the online wow strategist. She is a 9 times Amazon bestselling author, an influential podcast host, an expert event producer, and she teaches purpose-driven entrepreneurs to convert marketing into money using their wow website, along with the best unmarketing strategy so they can fund their lifestyle using their businesses. Now, that sounds like something I would like to know. Carol's clients hail from all over the world, from the USA, UK, Canada, South Africa, New Zealand, and Australia. And she is currently working to promote the best-selling books, influential podcasts, and expert summits that she and her clients are creating. Carol, welcome. Thank you for being here and for sharing your expertise with us.
Well, thank you for having me. I'm looking forward to this interview and all the secrets that we're going to unfold.
Woohoo! Me too. Me too. I'm ready with my notepad to make some notes. So I met Carol while we were both speaking at an online event, and then I was blessed enough to be part of a collaboration project that we're currently working on. Very exciting stuff.
Yeah.
And I just knew the minute I saw Carol and I heard her speak, this is a woman I need in my life. So I am sharing someone very special with you today. Now, Carol was so gracious to send me a copy of her book that is titled Unmarket Your Business. And I read it on the plane to South Africa in April, and I was just blown away by this book. So I want to, from the get-go, tell you to go get a copy of this book. If you stick around to the end of the podcast episode, you'll know how to do that. But Carol, you had me at hello when you say unmarket your business.
Thank you.
Unmarket your business. Because the number one question, well, whenever I ask people on this podcast, my author guests, what do you like least, or what do you find the hardest, the most challenging about being an author?
hmm
It is marketing.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Always.
Yes. So, first of all, why did you title this book Unmarket Your Business?
Well, basically, I wanted to start speaking. I put this book out in 2017. In 2015, I started working with two wonderful ladies, and we created this business, an actual business called uh, Write Write Books That Sell. Write Books That Sell Now. That was the name of it. I had to think. That's so long ago. And so these two women, one was an editor and the other one a publisher, but they both kind of did book coaching and things like that. And I was like, wow, but they needed me for the marketing because neither one of them did marketing. And they were like, mostly everybody else, marketing. Oh, so in working with them, I gleaned so much from them. We can glean from people around us. And if we really, really want to know something, God will put the people in our lives who can teach us things that we otherwise wouldn't have known. And I learned a wealth of things with them. So much so that by 2016, just after working in there for a couple of months, we published the book. And Candace, the editor, she was like, "We need to market this business, and the best way to do it is to publish a book." I was like, "Hmm, what?" And she actually took the blog post that I, and the other lady had done and created a book. Wow, that's amazing. So I had wanted to write a book for a long time, but I didn't have the impetus to do it, that I didn't think I knew enough. I didn't, all the stuff that stops us from doing that stuff. Now, I'm not enough. I'm not good enough. Nobody's going to read it, blah, blah, blah. But I learned from these two ladies that that don't even matter. Just put the book out there, child. Because once you put the book out there, people are going to know who you are. It up levels your just how you're seen with everybody, and they're going to come to you just because you wrote a book, because that's a monumental task, right? So when I was thinking about the book to write, I was going to write a book about my husband and I, because both of us have been through these crises, these health crises. Him in 2011, in January of 2011, he had a devastating stroke, almost died.
Wow.
God almost took him away from me, but he saw fit not to, and he's here and alive today and doing great stuff. And then just 6 months later, I was diagnosed with stage 2 breast cancer. And I'm
Wow.
like, "Oh, Jesus, Lord." I just got him, taken care of, and now I gotta deal with me. So I went from being carefree to being a caregiver to then being cared for. So I was saying, "I wanna write that book. I wanna tell my story about my husband and I." And she was like, "That's all well and good. Put that in the back of your brain right now. I want you to write the money book, the book that's gonna make you money. Let's write that one first." I was like, "Oh, okay." And I started thinking about what I could write a book about. And I'm going to write about my knowledge of how I've gotten my business from just starting out to where it was at that point. And I thought of the 10 things that I used that I still do today. And that's how the book came about. I just went through and named those 10 things. And it was stuff that I was really, really, truly into, that had made me money, got me clients, brought my name up for a lot of times. And that's how it came about. And then when I wrote it, I sat down and I wrote for 5 days straight, Monday through Friday, from 7 a.m. to 8 a.m., no
Wow.
interruptions. I just wrote. And I actually wrote the book itself inside of 90 days, I wanna say. It was all written, but I didn't actually finish the book and produce it till 2017, just because of hashtag life. Life got in the way, I couldn't do it. But when I came out, I was like, "I'm gonna make this book a bestseller." And it was so funny because the other 2 people I was in the business with, they were like, "Why you wanna be a bestseller? Yeah, waste your time, that's nothing, da 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 da." I'm like, "Really? Y'all keep on over there. I'm gonna make this book a bestseller." So I went about training myself, educating myself, joining all these groups, talking to people. I even got some very almost famous people and some people who got a lot of clout behind them to come into the book, because I asked them to come into the third part of, where do you think technology is going to go in the future, or something like that. And I got like a couple of presidents of organizations and stuff, to come into the book. So when I put the book out, guess what? It not only hit bestseller, it hit #1 international bestseller. Woohoo!
Wow.
So I'm like, yeah, that stuff is paying off. So, I just took that and ran with it. And it was a collaborative thing, really, because a lot of people are helping me, giving me ideas. I posted on social media from the very beginning that I was writing the book. I started a series of blog posts called the Author Chronicles, that just talked about how I could get through the book, and get through writing the book and printing and everything. So that was the impetus for it, because I wanted to do more speaking, and I got something much better out of it. I God said, "Look, this is not going to be your last book, and maybe your first will be your last. Come on, let's do this." And now I'm a 9-time best-selling author. So there.
Amazing. Amazing. Can you see that's why I needed to connect with you? I love talking to people who are doing things successfully and who are actually going for that dream. I think, especially in sometimes in a more religious or Christian environment, we can almost feel guilty or shameful if we want to be successful, if we want our businesses to profit. And it's
Right.
so counterproductive to think like that. God wants us to prosper and be in health and live life to the full.
Mm-hmm.
So I love that so much. Now, you said you wrote about 10 ways
Hmm.
um, to, I know your subtitle is 10 ways to stand out, to stop struggling, and to start profiting. And can you talk a little bit about those three things and from the perspective of an author? Because I know I know some authors who are desperate to increase their visibility. They want to stand out. They
Right.
want to stop the struggle and find some way to manage their marketing and to get an income from their book, because it's so hard these days to get your book in front of the right audience.
It truly is. Well, that's what I was thinking the whole time because, I've been struggling. I have struggled. I mean, I still struggle every not as much as I used to, but we all still have our struggles. We're thinking like nobody's listening to me. Why don't they buy this and blah blah blah. But then we have to go back and see number one, who are we even talking to?
Yes,
If you create a book and put it out there and just said everybody's gonna love it. I don't want to knock anybody out. It's just for everybody. You are going to fail because everybody is not going to want to read your book. Just think about the Bible and how popular it is. It's known not even nationwide, internationally and stuff. But not everybody has read the Bible, and some people don't even want to read the Bible. They may be Muslim or they may be Buddhist or whatever. They're like, I don't need the Bible. So if the Word of God is not read by everyone, sometimes not even interesting to people, what makes you think your book is going to be interesting to people? So that's what you got to know in the very beginning. Who are you talking to? What kind of people? Are they moms who need quick recipes? Are they former executives that are trying to start a new business? Are there maybe there are people who just got out of college and are trying to figure out life? There's there's a genre, there's a niche, there's a group of people who are waiting for you to get out there with your message. You just have to figure out who they are. And even if you start out with one particular group, it's going to change over time and you might have to readjust who you're talking to, what you're saying. So when you figure out who it is, then you got to figure out their language. And I don't just mean English or Afrikaans. Is that how you say it?
yes, that's right.
Not just that language, like what words do they actually use? Because
Yeah,
I know in the States, and I'm sure it's the same way in South Africa and the UK, different regions talk about different things, or they have words for different stuff. So, like
yeah,
for instance, in the South, if we have a bunch of houses together in suburbia where people live, we call that a subdivision. But I know in the Northwest, it's particularly in Oklahoma, because I used to live there, they called it additions. And I'm like, it's an addition to what? I'm coming from the South. You're talking about an addition. An addition? What you talking about?
yeah.
You got to know what they're saying, the actual words that they use, and that's what you use to talk to them so that they understand you. They want you as part of their life or business or whatever you're doing. And so the things that I talked about, and my number one thing in there to get your message out for people to understand who you are and what you're doing is to write a book. That was my number one thing. Write a book. Because once you write that book, you go from business owner to way up here and just bestseller. Woo, you're going up because people chase after people who are doing things. Like you said, if they're doing stuff, they're really into what they're doing, they're being successful, or in the eyes of their people, they're being successful, they're going to chase you. So you don't have to go chasing them. That was another reason I wrote the book. I was like, I don't want to be chasing clients all over the place. So I can just send them my book. They can find out so much about me. And now they're going to come to me and say, okay, I'm ready. I'm ready. Let's do this.
Yes, yeah,
The other stuff that I wrote about, the other 10 things, podcasting, doing a summit, um, Facebook groups. I really put a dent in that Facebook group thing because I learned that you can't just go in there and start, hey, here's my link, go buy my stuff because you'll get thrown out of the group. You got to be helpful. You have to add value. And I talk about all of that in the book and I go through everything ABC 1, 2, 3. I even give you a checklist that you can go to my website and download for each chapter. Each chapter has its own checklist, its own how you know it's working, what do you do next, what do you do now. So I think I really went in depth to let you know, okay, this ain't an overnight thing. It's going to take you a minute. This other thing could be quicker, yes, and just keep going there because those were the things that I had to learn on my own. Those were the things that I was doing, and it's hard for people to. As a matter of fact, I just finished talking to a client, and she was saying she was thinking about hiring somebody to help her sell her books. I was like, I don't have any problem with that. But instead of hiring people to help you sell your book, what about you hire people to help you sell you? Because you or what this book is about. It's not your books. And
Yeah.
they even said, well, what about all these people who are doing all these great things with their books? They sell all these books. I was like, are they really? Are they doing great things with their books? Or are they selling books and making the most money off of their products and programs and courses? And the books are just something that get people into their realm. And they
Yeah.
were like, wow, never thought about that. And it's a
Yeah.
marketing tool. Having a book is a marketing tool. Because when you and I first met, and you even talked about the podcast and stuff like that, I was like, hey, let me send you my book and you can read it and see, what I'm about. And you were like, okay, I read it. Get on this podcast right now. We got to talk.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. It's full of so many amazing pieces of information that's going to help you so much. And what I love most about it is your holistic approach, because I think from an author's perspective, a lot of the time we can think, oh, well, I just need to put it on Facebook. I just need to put Facebook links and I just need to tell my friends and family, and then that's enough. And people will just share and do all the things.
Right.
And what I love about what you share, and one of the things that are so important to me and when I work with authors, is that you've got to know who you are,
Hmm.
what you are called to bring,
Right.
and who you are called to serve.
Yes,
And
exactly.
without those three fundamental pieces, you know, your book is only a very small part of who you are and what you're
Right.
called to do and who you're called to reach. Your podcast or your business or all of these different elements. And that's what I love so much about your book is you've literally looked at everything.
Because I
Like
did it.
that is all in there.
Yeah, I did
Um,
it. And it's
you
hard.
did.
It's
Yeah,
hard for people to say, what should I do? How should I do it? How do I start it? And that's what I kept in mind when I was doing that. Like, let's go through the ABC, 1, 2, 3, and then think about this piece. And I give you some ninja tips in there about how to make it work better, how it's stronger. And one thing I wanted to say about getting friends and family to read your book, that's all well and good because friends and family will say, "Oh, you're awesome. You wrote a book. I love you." They ain't your people. They are not your people. They're not going to buy your services. They're not going to help you with stuff, but they're there to support you. That's great. And even if they share, how do you know who they're sharing with? Those people don't want your services either. So you got to really think about your audience and share it with the people who are looking for you because when they look for you and they find you, they're going to buy from
absolutely. That's so awesome. And here's another ninja tip that you just demonstrated is you knew who you were writing to. When you wrote that book, Unmarket Your Business, you saw that person struggling with their marketing their business. You saw that person, you wrote for them. So it's so important to have a very clear image of who it is that you're called to reach. I love that so much.
you.
Um, Okay, so I know you're going to be delving deeper into this in the Paper Crown Media subscription, but I just wanted to talk a little bit about the profit side and how do you use your book to create an income,
Hmm, I
to
love
make
this.
the bucks, the big bucks?
I know, I know. I love this part because people have to think about writing a book. It's really that's not the thing. That's not
Hmm.
the thing. It's using that book to then expand your empire into other things that you can do. For instance, okay, I wrote the book. That's cool. I give away my book. Sometimes I don't even sell my book. I just give it away or something. Or I talk about it. You can use it in blog posts. I have a endless subjects that I can use my book for to put it on my blog so that I can get extra juice out of it, right? So then when I first premiered the book, I was like, "Oh, I need to start a podcast to talk about the book." So I invited all the authors on there to talk about it. They got exposure. I got exposure. People were sharing it. And then people started coming to me, "Carol, how'd you write that book? Oh, I need a website. Oh, I needed this." Because they were thinking about what they needed to do in order to get their own book or get their marketing out there. And I would always talk to them. Other things you can do, summits are one of the best things that you can do, and I use my book to create the podcast. From the podcast, I got all these people that I was interviewing. And I was like, do you want a summit? They were like, oh, yeah. So I did the summit. And guess what? I sold the summit packages because I offered the summit free. I had like 15, between 15 and 30 people who would come on, and I sold the recordings. So I made money that way. And in one summit in particular, I think I made actually over the selling the packages, um, people coming to me for other things, coaching and other programs. I made probably about $10,000 off of that one summit that lasted
Wow.
one day. So that's ways that you can just always think about what you were talking about in the book, break it down into little pieces. And I started the Unmarketing Inner Circle right after I launched the book. I knew I was going to do this. There were three things that I wanted to do when I launched the book because I knew it was all bigger than the book. I could make more money. You know, a book's $20. How many $20 books do you have to sell to make even $1,000? That's a lot, right? So I'm like, how else can I make money using this book? Well, what I did was in the very beginning, I did a book launch and I called it Unmarket Your Book All the Way to the Bank. And we had a luncheon, people showed up. I think I only had 6 people that showed up. Wah, wah, wah. But all 6 of those people came into my Unmarketing Inner Circle group coaching program and they paid $1,997 for the year. Now, of course, I
Wow.
started it off with like maybe $297 for 3 months. And then I
Mhm.
asked them, hey, you want to renew? They said yes. And then I kept that running for about 2 years. And then I did some other things. It's just all of it comes back. I pulled all of that stuff out the book, everything I did. I've done about 8 podcasts. I've done probably 8 or 9 summits. I've helped other clients put on their summits and they paid me to do the summits. They paid me to do their book. They paid me to help them start their podcast. So the thing is, don't think about the book as just, oh, it's my golden goose. I'm gonna sell 1 million copies. That ain't gonna happen unless you're Michelle Obama or maybe even the Prime Minister of UK or something, because people already know you. But if you're
Yeah.
just, like us, little folks, little mom and pops and stuff, if you sell 1 million books, great for you. You just hit on something. But what if you don't? But I don't know if you know this or not, but most self-published authors during the whole lifetime of their book only sell 200 books. So if you only
Yeah.
sell 200 books times 20, what is that? That $4,000?
And
But
you
the
don't even get the full 20.
No, you don't. You only get royalties off of it. So then you gotta work longer. So why not
That's
take
right.
yeah, why not take that one book and
Yeah.
branch off to a summit, branch off, do a podcast, branch off, do some other books. Because that's what I do now. I help other authors actually bring their books to life. I've created since 2020 almost 70 best-selling authors. So I also say I create best-selling authors, but they pay me to help them do that. So
Yeah.
it doesn't matter if they bought the book. Doesn't matter if they ever buy the book. I really don't care. Honest to God, I do not care about the sale of the book. I care about what else the book can do for me because it's just one little thing in my whole toolbox of stuff that I'm doing.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Carol, I've got so many more questions for you, but I know we're going to go a little bit deeper in the Paper Crown Media subscription. So if you guys are listening and you want to get to know Carol better and you want to know more about how to use your book to create some big bucks, then I invite you to come and join us in the subscription. The link is in the details. But before we close this conversation, I want to ask you a question that I ask everybody is what do you love most about what you do?
Ooh, what I love most is the reaction that I get when somebody actually completes the book and gets the book and does that unboxing. I had one of my first collaborative books that I did was the 90-day gratitude journal for your business. That was a spiritual download from God to do that book after I did that first one, right? And I got 10 people together from my unmarketing inner circle. I said, "Hey, I'm doing this gratitude journal and I would like you to be a part of it." And they said, "Yes." Even before I got it out of my mouth, they were doing it. And I remember one person in particular, she had always wanted to write a book. She never was an author or anything. And she filmed her unboxing. And time she opened the box and saw the books, tears were streaming down her face.
Wow.
She couldn't believe it. So that is the thing that gives me joy. It makes me want to keep doing it. It makes me want to make more authors because becoming an author is not as hard as you think. And becoming a best-selling author, I got that down pat for now. God is still giving
Yay.
me input on that, but for now I got that down pat, and that's what I'm doing. But just seeing the reaction of people like, yes, I can be a best-selling author, and that confidence that it gives them. Like you said it, because I promise people, your book is gonna be a bestseller, and they look at me like, yeah, right, whatever. Then they're like, you're a bestseller. What? Two of my people that I did books for, their books became bestsellers before we even started promoting the thing.
Wow.
So
That
that's
that's
what keeps.
pretty incredible.
I
That's
know, I know. We uploaded, looked at it a couple days, bestseller. Whoop.
amazing. Amazing. Um, how do we get a copy of Unmarket Your Book? Your business. Unmarket Your business. Sorry.
Unmarket your book, unmarket your business, unmarket your life, baby. I'm talking about marketing. Well, if you go to my website, csicorporation.com/book, you can get a copy. You can see everything that's there. Of course, I'm on Amazon. It's going to lead you to Amazon anyway because I use Amazon. I love Amazon. Amazon is a great vehicle or platform to have your book on because there's millions of eyeballs that could possibly see it. I don't knock any other platforms. If you want to go with somebody else, that's fine. But Amazon is a marketing tool that you can't do without if you're an author, even if you sell the book yourself or on other things. So it's on Amazon. You can look it up, or you can go to my site and it's there too. Plus, all the other books that I've done are on my site as well.
Awesome. The link will be in the description below. You've got the Unmarketing Academy as well.
Yes.
So go and check that out. We'll put a link in the description of that as well. And is that the best place to connect with you, via your website?
Yes, yes, because I'm on social media everywhere, same moniker. Thankful to God to get that, and that is at CSI Corporation. So whether you're on Pinterest, Twitter, now X or whatever it is, Facebook, let's see, Pinterest, TikTok, it's all CSI Corporation. So wherever you look, that's where I am. It was so funny.
Awesome.
My husband he had never done this. He had never looked up his name on Google to see what comes up. And we did it just a few days ago. And the first thing that came up was our TikTok. Our TikTok.
Wow.
I was like, okay, because CSI Corporation and they have him and stuff. So, sometimes you should Google yourself and see what comes up. And if you don't like what comes up, then you need to get a book out there, do some other things, and get Google to noticing you. Because when I look up myself, my website comes up, plus my LinkedIn and all the other things I've done. So it's pretty cool.
Awesome. Well, thanks everybody for watching. Thank you, Carol, so much for sharing with my podcast audience. And I hope to see you in the Paper Crown Media subscription. Make sure that you join us. The link is in the description. Thank you for listening, everyone, and have an awesome day.